Alright, it's Liam. I want to thank everyone at the Oasis Podcast, as you were.
All right, welcome back to the Oasis Podcast, the ultimate audio guide to Oasis, and his first chance to check out Supernova Studios. It's Richard Bowes. How you doing, man?
I should say I'm not literally there.
No,
we're still benefiting from the wonders of technology. I'm not literally there seeing it, but I've seen what you've all seen in the YouTube videos. So I can see the Hofner bass, I can see the acoustic.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, hello, podcast listeners. Hello.
Yeah, and I thought I'd grab you on today because it's been a mad week. It's one of those weeks when both Liam and Noel are both playing live, which is pretty rare. It doesn't tend to happen too often, and it's one of those times when it's like, oh well, they're both playing live, and guess who went to see both of them?
Yeah, it rarely seems to happen. Oh well, yeah, it does seem to fall like that sometimes. Like I remember back in 2019, it was like I was seeing Noel at Heaton Park on the Friday, and then the offer came up to see Liam at the Hackney Chapel came up like for the Wednesday, like came out the day before. It was like, can you have too much Oasis in 1 week? And obviously the answer to that is no. Obviously it's no. So Teenage Cats Trust at Albert Hall on Thursday, and then on Monday Kentish Town Forum to see Liam Gallagher and John Squire. So yeah, although ironically I haven't had a lot of Oasis tunes. It was like I've probably had 10 Oasis tunes, maybe even less than that. I've heard
between the two. There's not that much Oasis, is there? Yeah, but no, that's cool. Well, I didn't get to either of those gigs. I did, although I did see Oasis this week. Although it was Oasis Supernova, which is our Ian's band. So I saw them I saw them as Columbia when Ian's band was called Columbia up in Glasgow, when we did the Tony McCarroll show in Glasgow, and I watched them then. Now Ian's now moved to Manchester region and reset this up, but I'll tell you what, I'm not going to talk to you about it. I'm going to drop in now my clip of my interview with Ian at Southampton.
I can't speak English as well, so there's some value in it, like.
Yeah. All right, welcome back to the Oasis Podcast, the ultimate audio guide to Oasis. And I'm in the very pristine dressing room of the 1865, and it looks like it was decorated in 1865. But yeah, I'm here with Ian, aka Tall Noel. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you, mate?
All good. This is awesome, mate. You said, come up to the dressing room, but it's a bit shit.
This is shit. This is pretty shit.
Also, what are you used to? Are you used to like lavish fucking flowers and stuff everywhere, right?
Well, there was actually some flowers, but I think Aiden's taken them on stage, isn't he?
Shares long.
We're on the Shade Lounge, yeah. But like I say, it's people obviously at home can't see this or wherever they are taking their podcast from, but the art does look like it's from 1865, doesn't it?
It's weird. Mad. Yeah, it's like all this. Well, I was going to say impression. I haven't got a clue about art, so I don't know what sort of style it is. But yeah,
this looks like something of Joe Rogan. This DMT
is very
picture,
weird,
whatever
isn't
that
it?
is. Yeah.
Yeah, very weird. But anyway, well, we're here because you guys are Oasis Supernova, and so you played with me under the previous band Columbia when we did the Glasgow show with Tony McCarroll.
Yeah.
And this is my first time seeing you. So what happened? Like you moved, right? And so hence this is the new band.
Yeah. So I got a new job basically. Put my notice in at work on the Wednesday, and then Boris Johnson put us into lockdown on the Sunday, and it was a bit of a fucking mental time to be changing jobs and moving areas. But we moved down to Halifax and basically wanted to knowing what I'd learned from being in Columbia, which great lads. But we were, I think it's fair. I think
shit song though.
No, great song, as you know. But it was really like what I wanted to do was match the visual aspect of an Oasis gig in time with the band playing on stage, which is what it's taken 4 years to get it to that point. It's been ridiculously a lot of hard work. John drives it a lot from the drum stool.
Yeah.
But basically, when we play. Liam and Noel are singing on stage, and we go, and the venues that we use the videos from are Wembley 2008, the Etihad, the main road, Nebworth, Glastonbury, Earls Court, and then we use a few of the official videos as well because it's just better to have HD. And when when Ignition announced that they're going to do a 4K re-release, it's like, fucking yes, I've got some decent footage to use.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. That's great, man. That's good. And this fucking, there's what, like 500-600 people down there. It's mad.
Mm-hmm.
It's is that typical sort of venue size you guys are playing?
I would say we've gone from 2023 about 200 people average crowd to now we're at about 350.
Yeah.
So next year, hopefully, we're going to try and step up to 500. But we're
playing the Etihad next year.
At the Etihad. But the
canteen.
We've started playing with John. Is really experienced in playing with brass bands. He's a really experienced brasser. Been brassing a lot. And,
I'm a brass band geek.
So John's written basically because the parts don't exist. We tried to get them through the collectors group.
Yeah.
The parts for like Round Our Way and all those big Nebworth show parts. But John and Penny, his wife, have basically written and scored all of those all those tunes. And then there's some footage of us on our Instagram, instagram.com/The Oasis Supernova or facebook.com The Oasis Supernova. Give us a follow.
With Upper Mill Brass Band, wasn't it?
With Upper Mill Brass Band. So we do Round Our Way and Don't Go Away.
Yeah, Don't Go Away. Round Our Way, Don't Go Away. Some might say whatever.
All Around the World.
All Around the World. The five parts that it's called.
5-piece, and because I think when they did the Be Here Now tour, there was only when Oasis. There was only three,
stage,
right? So you were.
No, we had 9. We had 9 brass players.
Yeah, but when they were playing like the G-Mex, we were saying this last week. Oasis only had 3 on tour.
Yeah. Well, we scored it across 9 parts.
So you're basically saying you guys are better than Oasis, right?
Basically, yeah.
You said that.
Must be making
Don't
some
put-
money. Liam can't sing with a Welsh accent.
Don't put words in my mouth, James, but that's exactly what I'm saying.
I told you that was fucking awesome.
No, that is cool. But so we haven't got the brass band tonight, so that's not. But you don't get that for Southampton.
It will be next year.
Next year, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Going to bring them down next year.
that's fantastic. It's very
Yeah,
exciting.
can take them on tour with us. Going to
So yeah, and so tonight we've got the Stone Roses just played, Absolute Stone Roses. They were blinding.
Yeah.
We've got the Smiths coming up next, and then you guys headlining.
Yeah.
So you'd like to do that sort of, the 3 bands to bring the whole Manchester experience, basically.
Yeah, this is the 3rd time that we've done this lineup here, and then we're doing it in Rugby and Wolverhampton and Leicester. So yeah,
Leicester.
got some big shows around when the crowd, when it's a venue that warrants it. We try and bring a bigger show.
Yeah, bring a proper night. Yeah. No, that's great. Because we were saying with Ben, we were saying that normally you get in at 7 and there's no fucker there. But
Yeah.
actually it was just busy from. I mean,
It's
the Roses
jammed
came on
down
at
there,
7, half 7, 7:40 or something. But it's just jammed. Yeah, absolutely. So we were saying maybe. Because I was maybe expected to be the Smiths first, then the Roses, then Oasis, almost like the history of Manchester music. But actually, you put the Roses on first. Maybe is that to get people in and get people
That's
drinking?
the first time they've done it.
Yeah, normally it is that way around. It is normally the Smiths, the Joneses first, then Absolute Stoners, then us.
Yeah.
And sometimes we swap with the Roses, don't we? Or we have done previously.
Yeah, I think we worked out that Oasis always have to go on. Yeah,
we have to be
always
Oasis
kind of
top
top of the bill, aren't they?
Yeah,
You need to finish with Champagne Supernova, don't you? Whatever the night is.
Yeah,
And well, we're not doing that tonight. It's going to be the girl in the dirty shirt to finish off with.
And we were saying that, I said to you on text, I think, so is the John Squire from the Roses and you're Liam going to get on and do just another Rainbow, maybe?
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Red and yellow.
Going to do From Liverpool to
Yeah.
Mars.
Yeah. No plans for that? No.
We could get him up to do Champagne Supernova, I guess, at the end.
That'd be good fun. Yeah.
But kind of I do all the Noel parts on it, so it means I'd have to give up the Noel bits for somebody else to do
I wouldn't be
the
happy
Squire
with
bit.
Wouldn't be
Yeah,
happy with
can't
that.
have it.
No. And having seen the
He's going to
foot.
put his Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
But having seen the footage from the gigs they've been doing recently, it's been pretty like chill. You know, I don't think it doesn't feel like that those tunes have really gone to the level of like people going mad for them. Like I think Mars Liverpool, Just Another Rainbow have been like, you know, a bit busy, but most of them has just been people just sat and watching really.
I just saw the Jonathan Ross version footage from last weekend or the weekend before.
Yeah.
And it sounded a lot better live than it did on the record.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just sounded a bit, maybe it's just, you know, when they're all doing different parts from all around the world and then it all comes together, but it just doesn't have the same chemistry as when people are actually performing it together. But I thought, because a lot of the time TV recorded tunes sound a bit shit, but that actually sounded really good.
Decent.
Yeah,
they do tend to have a decent setup on Jonathan Ross.
Yeah,
cool. All right, so any what have we got? Surprises in store? You're going to drop in a bit of.
Luke's got the set list there. I think.
Luke's got the set list, has he? How are we doing? Well, you're
It's
starting
all
with
it's all bangers tonight.
starting with Who Put the Weight of the World on My Shoulders, and then we got a bit of Can You See It Now? I Can See It Now. Cigarette to Now, yeah. Oh, very good. That looks great. So yeah. So looking forward to it. I mean, it must be difficult. I know when with Columbia, you like used to play Gas Panic and stuff like that, but I suppose it's
talking
like
about that, yeah.
Yeah.
About how you fit the deep cuts in. You could do it when if you're doing like a 2 hour set, like we usually always play. Do you know what I mean? But even that, although it's a number one single, you kind of see people starting glazing over.
Yeah, it's a long song, isn't it?
But and then All Around the World's been a bit of a hit for us recently, isn't it?
Yeah,
I was amazed how well it goes down.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome, yeah.
Well, that's Stand By Me. Stand By Me's had like a bit of a resurgence. It's not on the list, but
Yeah, we were doing it.
Because I don't know the words.
It's so authentic. Chris actually looks at me quite a lot of the time. I have to mouth words to him, just like Liam.
Just like Liam and Noel.
Yeah, I'm like, I give him a nod and say, yeah. I say, no. Whatever, yeah.
Well, we were saying.
And she's electric, to be fair.
Well, pretty much all of them, then, is it?
That one out. It took me like 18 months, but I know it.
Mother, brother, sister, daughter. What is it? Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Don't confuse it, man.
You all fucked that up tonight.
No, but we were saying like with the Stone Roses, like does the guy? He's probably if you're in a Stone Roses tribute band, you're probably a decent singer, right? But does he like deliberately have to sing badly to sound like Ian Brown? Like that's the.
No, he genuinely is that bad.
He's that bad.
I'm just joking, Steve.
Cool. All right. Well, look. So very excited. So what's the? So we got obviously we're in Southampton tonight. What have you got? What's the next? Oh, let's talk about Nico, right? So Nico Tatarowicz, who was Matt Morgan's mate, who's been on the Oasis pod before. So yeah, so he supported you a couple of times. How'd that come about?
I just messaged him on Instagram and said, "Do you fancy doing some gigs with us?" I didn't know if he was going to go for it because I didn't know how Matt would react with, you know, because he has Noel on all the time, obviously. Yeah. You know how that would go down, but Nico was cool as fuck. He stayed with us last night, hung out, had beers. We had a fucking good laugh. He smashed it last night as well. I think the first time he played with us, he maybe didn't expect it to be quite what it was because we played a gig in Halifax and it was like a full venue. But then last night was sold out as well. So it was great. He's a fucking funny guy as well. He's top bloke.
Excellent.
I listened to that podcast, you know, along with your podcast all the way, and Matt's all the way through lockdown. It's a difficult question.
You can say it's Nico. That's fair enough.
Well, Nico and Matt's is funnier.
Yeah.
Yours is more information driven
There
and
we go.
informative.
Well, thank you.
That's a diplomatic answer. Proper diplomatic.
But no, you're right.
Nico's
Matt's is better.
Yeah. And Nico's a top guy. I mean, I've interviewed him. I had a few messages over the.
He was good. Actually, he couldn't come. He got a night in London tonight, but he was actually genuinely like, oh fucking hell! If I'd have known, I would have come down. But yeah.
No, top man. And what was he doing? Just a few his original tunes,
Well,
few covers.
He did. I think he was doing all covers last night, but he's writing his own stuff.
Yeah.
And he just gets up and plays because he obviously busks a lot. He's got the Busking Chronicles podcast, and he's so natural and funny with the crowd because of his comedy writing.
Comedy, yeah.
So he just has a laugh with the crowd. It's great, actually. He really breaks
Awesome.
to. You know, part of the problem is a lot of the time is the stage and the crowd and there being a divide, and you really need to cross that barrier. Nico's brilliant at getting that straight from the support act, you know, from the warm up. So
That's good, mate.
That's really good.
Good stuff. And so what's the plan then? So you've got, where are you on from now? If you just busy now?
We just had a run of shows. We've got one in April and we've got like holidays and weddings and family shit happening in May, so we tend to not hammer the band. We're not out every weekend, we're just out. But when we do go out, we try and do really good, big gigs. So the next gig after that will actually be in Brighton, and Nico's going to support us there. Obviously, he lives in Brighton. So anyone that's out there wants to come and check out Nico, and we're playing with Happy Mondays, and then we'll be the Oasis band will be headlining it as well. Excellent. And then we're playing in Portsmouth at the end of June, and Swansea. Got some big festivals happening. But yeah, it's a balancing act because we all work, and we're just trying to do this as a bit of, keep everybody out of the pub on a Saturday, really. Bit of fun.
Yeah, no, that's spot on. And so I think I might have pissed you off or upset you a little bit. It's fine. But when I sort of was interviewing the guys from Oasis and saying, they're the best Oasis tribute band out there.
That was fucking out of order. I was so upset when I listened to that.
You're bigger than me. But I think that was the spur that drove you on to then improve the band, get the brass in and the visuals and everything. So yeah, was that it? Is this?
Yeah, I was that deeply hurt that. To be fair, AKA I don't know the guy's name, Noel, E.G., and I've always thought that Oasis are the benchmark.
Oasis are great, aren't they?
The rest of them are kind of chances with the rest of us, but Oasis are at that level, I think.
Yeah. Oasis, aka Noel G's the top guy. I've not seen him, to be fair, but I've just from having interviewed and doing the videos and stuff, it's just that extra level. And when we did that interview after the pedal show, was AK and Noel, who did we have on that? Was AK and Noel G
and
Noel from Oasis and you?
No, you asked me to do it, but I couldn't do it because I was working. I had work.
Oh, that's it.
And then I listened into it, and you were like, I've got the best two Noel's here. And I was like, for fuck's sake.
The podcast was shit.
Yeah, that was it. Good stuff. All right, well, look, let's... so we've got, we've got the Smiths up in a minute, and then we've got yourselves up after that. So, yeah. How are you feeling? You up for it? You excited? It's a great crowd.
Bit tired. It's been... These guys drove 10 hours yesterday from Manchester. We were authentic. We came from Manchester. Yeah. They're actually from... Cheltenham, these guys, but they had to go via Manchester just to make it even more authentic. But we went through. Just had to go around the M62 just to get in the spirit for it. But it was a 9-hour journey, and then the 4-hour. You forget how long it is across the south coast. It took 4 hours to get from Tavistock to here today. Yeah. So, but everyone's had a Polish kebab. That's not a euphemism for anything. We've been looking forward to it because a few of the lads went to this kebab place last time, and a few missed it, and. Everyone's been buzzing about getting a kebab. So we all had a kebab, we had a few beers, and we're ready to go on stage.
Excellent. Cool. All right, well, look, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. And, and hopefully we'll get you back up to the top of the tribute band charts. Cool. Good. All right, cheers, guys. Have a good gig.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Right, guys, we've got 2 songs left. Thanks very much for having us back. The song's for my friend James, who runs the Oasis Podcast. I'm not sure if any of you guys listen to that. Any Oasis podcasters in the room, but check out the badge, always representing, and give it a listen. This one's called Don't Go Back in Anger.
So, as you heard, did you enjoy that clip there, Richard?
Yeah. Just for context, I didn't hear the clip. This is, again, the wonders of technology. I don't feel like I'm unenthusiastic about it. I didn't hear it. That said, I did see the video that you posted over the weekend when you got the shout out. So I've already, if it was that video that you're going to use, and it gets a bit timey-wimey now, but if it was that one, then yeah, it was great.
Yeah, actually, Ian was slagging you off. It was outrageous. I mean, you'll hear it on the episode, but no. So that was really good. And I'll tell you what, seeing an Oasis tribute band, and I haven't seen one for a while actually, and I haven't seen one sober for a while because I was driving, and it was mad. It was Southampton in a venue called the 1865, and it was really busy. There's a good sort of 400-500 people there, and rammed in, and nutters. A lot of geezers coming out of the toilets, kind of sniffing intently, and really busy kind of Saturday night. and it was it was pretty bad. And actually just sitting back and listening to it and taking it in. I mean, this is not like I'm not going to make you say anything like drastically controversial, but hearing those Oasis songs, it's like these are all so simple and catchy and powerful live songs. You know what I mean? This was a set. They do basically a greatest hits set with the likes of She's Electric and Half the World Away in there. So it's like all the big sing-along classics, and they do them really well. You know, they don't tend to dress up and things like that. You know, they don't bother with all the that side of it. They just play the music as closely as they possibly can, and then their big thing is the visuals in the background. And I was just like, these songs are brilliant. You know, they are just such great, like simple and so simple. And especially when you hear them in the live setting and you can hear the bass more clearly and you can pick out what the guitars are doing. And you think, these are really simple songs, but they're just so effective. And you see everyone going mad for them. So, newsflash, Oasis podcast hosts thinks Oasis are good.
Yeah, they were all right, weren't they? They were all right. They had some tunes, undeniably. Yeah, that's probably why they're, the generation after generation is informed by them. Like they are, for want of a better expression, they're timeless classics. They have the same effect because they are quite simple. As you say, they're simple and powerful, the two words obviously you use, but it's that stuff never dies. Similar to the Beatles, or similar to all the kind of classic bands. It's like the reason they're great will echo for 30 years in Oasis' case so far, and likely they'll likely outlast us. Similar, like I say, similar to all the greats. So yeah, they were all right. They're a decent band. Yeah,
good band. Yeah, good band. And it's just mad to see like so many people going completely nuts for a tribute band. People are videoing the tribute band. Why are you videoing a tribute band? It's not the real people. But
weren't you videoing the tribute band?
No, I didn't video it actually. That was Ian set up the camera. The whole gig, and he sent me the clip. I took a couple of pictures.
Oh yeah.
The reason I took a couple of pictures because for the last tune, Liam, the singer, he comes on with a guitar, and he did, and I thought, whoa, hold on, I'm not having this.
Transgression. What are you doing?
But then he did say something like, yeah, before you say it, that's right, Liam never played a guitar in Oasis, but you can fuck off, like, blah blah blah, whatever. So you think, oh, fair enough, you're putting a hat on it.
Fair play.
So but no, it was good. And so if you're checking out Oasis tributes, then you can't go wrong with Oasis Supernova. There you go. There you go, Ian. 10 quid. Okay. Anyway, so Richard, so you saw the actual people, not the lookalike version. So which one was first? Noel at Teenage Cancer Trust.
Yeah, Noel at the Albert Hall last Thursday. So he done. I mean, I was determined. I was like, right, I saw Noel twice last year, same set, and he did the same set at the arena dates, but he made allusions on Matt Morgan that he was going to be mixing set up a little bit. And I was like, right, I'm going to do my best to avoid seeing any of the set lists. And I've got my own self to blame as well, because I mentioned it on the discourse to Ryan Harvey as well. And then I think pretty much as it happened, I was getting the set list through. I literally couldn't avoid it. Like next day as well. And there's you because following all these various Oasis accounts on Instagram, or just the algorithms that I'm an Oasis fan come up, it's just like, oh, okay, so he did Stand By Me, and right, okay. So I knew what pretty much what was going to happen, although he didn't actually play Love Will Tear Us Apart, which I think he did at a couple of the warm-up shows, which I like that version of the song. I know a lot of people don't, but for me it's like, well, I haven't seen it live, so for completeness sake I want that, but I don't get that. I got the Mighty Quinn instead, which is fine. I mean, it was I mean, things because Noel loves the Albert Hall and the acoustics are so good. There were 3 or 4 gigs in, but not, they were probably just approaching match fitness, or indeed at match fitness. So everything just seemed to fall into place. Everything seemed to gel. Of the songs that weren't included last year, it was good to see Lock All the Doors back.
Yeah.
Which was good. I personally, because Talk Tonight comes and goes, and my feelings on Half the World Away, I feel like that the way you feel about Columbia. And obviously those two are kind of peas in the pod. It was always a bit like, oh, okay, well, Half the World Away, which was played, but Talk Tonight to me is the better of the two. To see that was great. Obviously the version of Stand By Me was good, but I'd seen it a couple of years ago when he did it at the Wall Festival Hall with Peter Blake. So, it was great. Don't get me wrong, it's a great song, and it's great to see Noel kind of acknowledging that. And you know, I'm sure the Halifax adverts haven't had anything to do with the fact that Noel's now decided to put those into his live sets, and the fact that everyone kind of knows it again or knows it now. But yeah, it was brilliant. It was just like everyone was in good form. You know, the set. Oddly, I was looking through the previous set lists, and there wasn't really much changes. He took out the importance of being idle, then he added, as I say, Lock All the Doors and Stand By Me and Talk Tonight. So it seemed like it was a bigger set than last year's shows. The new stuff still sounds great. I think the songs he shows, I'd have liked him to mix that section up a little bit, like maybe Think of a Number in, although I think he said he can't make that one work live, or maybe change up the High Flying Bird stuff. But as I say, they got Lock All the Doors was added in as well. So Dead in the Water is still a special moment. That might need. Well, actually, no. I was going to say that might need to get dropped every time I've seen it. It's special and continues to be. So just him and acoustic, and that's always the kind of the midpoint between the two sets.
Don't walk away now. Never enough to make me ash on the broken glass. Let the storm rain die on the waves, but I will not rest while love lies in the water. In the water. In the water.
Yeah, as I said in a very cheesy kind of Instagram post, the High Flying Birds continues to soar. It was brilliant.
But no, that's awesome. And from what I was hearing on Discord, I can't remember who said it actually, but I think the general consensus is Jess is the current MVP of the High Flying Birds. Would you concur?
Yeah, I would disagree with that. But we had great seats. Well, sorry, great ticket, well, great position. So we were probably, I don't know, 20 feet away from like the centre. Like, so indirectly in my eye line was Noel. So to be honest, I wasn't really looking much beyond him. But yeah, I mean, Jess is great. Gem, I think Gem took an additional guitar solo because he does it for Lock All the Doors, and he did that last year as well. I think he took it for another one, and I can't not Going Nowhere as well, because that was also last year. Sorry, not Gem. Sorry, Noel. I think Noel's taken on a new one as well as Don't Look Back in Anger.
Okay.
But I can't for the life of me remember which one it was. So if anyone was there and can recall that, or if I'm just talking out my backside because I may have had a couple of drinks, but I'm sure, which was quite nice. Which is again quite nice to see, because it's nice to see him. I think I've said, I forget if I've said this on the podcast before, but like a few months ago, I watched an Oasis video. I think it was like the Glastonbury set, and it was like, oh, I do miss Noel, the guitarist.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I do really miss that. Regardless of what you think of his ability, he always, I don't know. For me, he was always fun to watch. It was great fun to watch him. So it was nice to see that kind of, if I'm right, it's nice to see that gradually kind of coming back in as well, because it's I know he prefers to be the songwriter or the singer and the songwriter and stuff, but people always say he's an underrated guitarist. So it's nice to see a bit more of that.
Yeah. Even if you don't have to be the best guitar player in the world to just like be do some really good guitar playing, right? So so that's fine. And I know what you mean. Like I miss it when you see Oasis, like, because that's part of the charm. And even watching the tribute band, it's like seeing Ian do it. I'm like, I miss seeing Noel do those guitar solos, and just them being kind of in the bigger and bolder versions of those songs with just loads of loud amps and and then Noel's blistering guitar solos. It's a different sound. But yeah, no, that's interesting.
But like I say, I'm sure that happened, but I haven't been able to see anyone verify that, or indeed anyone confirm that. And I was me and my friend, we can't really place which tune it was, so might have just been talking nonsense. One thing I want to say about the show as well, the visuals were great, and once they were performing with a big screen behind them in the Albert Hall, which I don't know I've ever seen before. I think it's been relatively stripped back, but I hadn't been to the Albert Hall in about 10 years, to be fair. But that was it was like I said, the visuals and that was really great as well. And yeah, as I say, just the High Flying Birds are just so, it's hard to really comment on the High Flying Birds when you see them quite a lot, because they're just so consistent. Do you know what I mean? They're so consistent. There's no better word for it than that. They're all on point all the time. I'm sure they feel there's better shows than others, but it's hard to really notice as a punter. It's not the drama we used to get with an old, with Oasis. Obviously, it's just much more steady, and they just seem to be was really happy and enjoying playing with each other as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And in terms of the crowd as well, was it pretty chilled? Was there any limbs at all in like Little by Little or whatever? Or is it all pretty much just people chilling and nodding and enjoying it?
Well, again, we were quite close to the front. I didn't really look. I mean, I looked back on a few occasions. There was lots of hands in the air, and Little by Little got a great sing along. I mean, the thing is, the acoustics in that venue, you can hear people singing quite loud and quite proud. Generally, that's just kind of the vibe of the room. But it was a good crowd. The atmosphere was great. Like, it's hard to describe what the atmosphere necessarily what made it great. There wasn't limbs or anything. It's not that type of thing. But like, it just felt like there was just a lot of love in the room. I think the kind of charity element always helps as well. And I think it's that whole thing, isn't it? If the band are having a good time, they're having a good time. Saw quite a few kind of like other Oasis fans. Met Kyle for a beer beforehand, and he had the whole Oasis collectors group room there, and met a couple of them. And then I randomly ran into Adam Thompson I was literally stood next to him at the gig, so we had a bit of a chat. Yes, Kyle had his, which I didn't clock until afterwards, but Kyle had his flag for his new Bittersweet Home in one flying out from one of the boxes. Which is quite funny to see the pictures online afterwards. But yeah, it was just good vibes, man. Everyone just seemed to be in the right place. There's just those moments you get when everyone's in simpatico and just everyone's enjoying the gig. The audience are responding. The band are responding to the audience enjoying the gig. It was just it was a middle class.
Tim and John, in terms of the album, either have we? I read your review of it, obviously, and then so give us your thoughts on the album first off, I suppose.
Well, that was quite a funny one, because I wrote a preview piece for a review piece for Just Another Rainbow for Clash, who very kindly came back to me like that week, which is the 2nd week of January, and very kindly said, "Oh, would you like to do a review of the album?" I was like, "Fucking yes, of course I would." But I only had 2 days to turn it round. So I was given it like on the Thursday, and I had to be ready because it was going in the print magazine, which has just landed, and it's the latest issue is currently on your shelves. So if you want to read my review in print, it's there. Go to your local WH Smith. But within those 3 days, I listened to it 4 or 5 times, and I was like, okay. But I think it took everyone a little bit like by surprise. Like, I think for me, Just Another Rainbow was kind of what you'd imagine a Liam Gallagher, John Squire thing to be. In kind of Stone Roses-y with Liam singing it. Yes, the rainbow thing didn't get a lot of love, but I think time has been quite kind to that. And Liam's made the point. It's kind of like Pipe at the Gates of Dawn, and it's all too much. It's kind of like childish nursery rhymes intentionally to be part of the song. I think I think time will continue to dull the ever so slight naffness of that. Whereas the rest of the album's generally quite covers a lot of different areas of traditional rock and roll. You've got I'm a Wheel, which I think is quite Hendrixy. I think you pointed out that I'm So Bored is very Who indebted, and after seeing it on Monday, I'd say it's generally overall quite 60s. I think it's like, what did I describe it as in my review? Paperback Writers, like Malevolent Little Brother. I think it's kind of got that kind of vibes with it. And then you've got the kind of slightly more pastoral stuff with Mother Nature's song. So it's very, it's quite surprising in that respect, really. I don't know. I just assumed, even though John Squire, with the Stone Roses singles that came out a few years ago, and with the Seahorses, he's long since moved away from that first album sound. But yeah, it's got a lot more kind of traditional, it's like bluesy, it's like rock and roll album. And yeah, I think it's really enjoyable. I don't think it's the best thing that either of them put their name to, but I don't think either of them would claim that either. But yeah, just a good fun rock album. It's quite funny now. It's almost done. Do you know what I mean? It's almost finished. Like, I think Liam and John have got, they're playing, I think it's Berlin, Paris and Milan next week. Then literally one show in New York later in April, and then that's it. I think as far as I know, that's done. And then Liam moves on to Definitely Maybe. So it's like, okay, came and went almost.
I know, it's bizarre, isn't it? It's like, okay, you have this slot for it, get it done. Album, gigs, done. Right, next. Yeah, it's bizarre. Yeah, it's smart though. It's good. I like it. It's just like you then don't have such a massive build up. You know what I mean? Like when it is a like the new whoever album, and it's coming up, and you've got all the build up to it, and it comes up, and then if you then haven't got anything for like another 2 years, then that was all you had. You know what I mean? Whereas, and then you sort of more focused on it. Where it's like, okay, he did an album not too long ago. Now is this new one? Look, it's a side project effectively, and then on he goes. You know, on he goes to the Definitely Maybe shows, and then the arena shows, and then and then it's like, and then there'll be another album, I imagine. So it's just like we just keep trucking, don't we? And it's not. I think you need to be so precious about them. As it's fine. I love that. Yeah, I mean, like we've got, like we said, Noel's going to be doing a song with the Black Keys, haven't we? And like, so if you can just sort of, I don't think we don't need to sort of be so, like, you can allow them to have these sort of, maybe it's not a 9 out of 10, but hey, doesn't matter. It's just like a great 45-minute fun rock and roll record, and then on we move. So yeah. But anyway, what about the live? Then? Where did you visit? Kentish Town? You saw them?
Yeah, Kentish Town Forum. I was in the press bit, so I kind of met with a few people of Clash afterwards, but we were on the balcony. So, I mean, maybe it's because of Monday night, maybe because it's London, doesn't generally have particularly up for it crowds. But from where I was looking, it didn't look like the crowd was particularly up for it. But I imagine it's obviously very different being in the balcony to being amongst it. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to get look at it, see what the crowd was like. But crowd seemed into it. But it was, I think, once the novelty of seeing Liam Gallagher and John Squire wear off, it's a bit like, I don't know how well they necessarily knew the songs. Do you know what I mean? Because inevitably there would have been punters there who've been like, I'm a big Stone Roses fan, big Oasis fan, and went there and went, oh, they don't play any of those. Right, okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they would have been purely the hardcore who would have known that it's those 10 songs, Jumping Jack Flash, and that's it, you're out. So, you're done, sorry. So it was the atmosphere was not unusual, but seemed a bit subdued, I would say. But, for example, Raise Your Hands, right? That is a song that is asking for crowd participation, right? They're asking for literal crowd participation. And I would say probably 30% of the crowd did it, probably engaged in it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, that was. We still got the Liam chants and all that kind of stuff, and there was still that kind of element to it, but it didn't. I don't know. It was something you couldn't quite put your finger on. Maybe, I mean, I guess again, the album's only been out for 3 and a bit weeks when that show was. So I suppose that's not a huge amount of time for people to familiarise themselves with it. Maybe there'll be a bigger response for the next round of shows when they've got 2 albums out. I think that's probably fair, or maybe later in the year if they did some shows, they might get a bigger response. But it was still a chance to see John Squire, who you rarely see, in such close proximity. We rarely see full stop, let alone in such close proximity. And he was everything you want John Squire to be. I'd have liked it if there had been a few more kind of wig outs, like Just Another Rainbow, I think, is begging. Well, I think Liam said, didn't he? Like, you should hear the full versions. I was like, right, 9-10 minute wig out for John Squire. Yes, please. But we didn't get much of that. No. There was a couple of I think Raise Your Hands got a bit of an extended ending. I think I'm a Wheel did as well. But other than that, it was relatively straightforward. But with John Squire's guitar on the album, it's a pleasure enough to see that live. Powerful little unit, given there's only 5 of them. Mm-hmm. I think Joey Waronker. How we're saying it, we're good on that. He did a great. He was. I'd say he was. Actually, no. Barry Cardigan was great as well. They were just a great band. You know what I mean? There was, Christy Madden on keys as well. But like, for example, Joey did a great Charlie Watts on Jumping Jack Flash. I mean, I would say probably Jumping Jack Flash is probably the highlight. Yeah. Just because it was quite kind of freewheeling, and obviously the crowd knew it a lot more. You could tell they love it. Liam, I think those lyrics. I was born in a crossfire hurricane, all that sort of stuff. That's the sort of stuff that Liam loves getting his teeth into, and you can tell. You could really tell it's kind of the snotty. I think I said the snotty lyrics he loves, and he was probably enjoying it. But yeah, it was a really good night, a really good show. It was quite funny seeing like Liam almost like when there were kind of wig outs or the long outros. Liam was like, "Right, I'm off," and he was like. It's a hark back to the Oasis days. He hasn't done that for 15 years, has he? Because I don't think he did. I don't think he ever did it during BDI, and then obviously in his solo shows, he's the man, isn't he? So he can't really walk off stage. It's not really appropriate.
I suppose he's the man, as in he's the person everyone's there to see, but also those songs haven't been devised with these long, those, all of his solo stuff is very much designed to be, showcases for Liam, really, aren't they? There isn't like long 5-minute guitar solos or whatever, because it's not about, whoever doing a guitar solo, it's about Liam. And so, and so he doesn't, and I suppose also he's kind of the boss, isn't he? It's his show. He needs to kind of check the not check the levels and things, you know what I mean? But he's there, he's got to be there. Whereas, actually, well, what's going to happen now? 3 minutes of John Squire wigging out? Oh, I'm just going to have a sit down or a lay down.
Exactly,
See that footage of him? He's actually laid down on the ground. And I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Well, he must be like, God, I'm literally, he must, I suppose, because he's been freed of some bit of responsibility, he's like, right, what do I do? Prowl around the stage, which, he does excellently, but it's like, there is only so many tricks in his repertoire in terms of what he could do. But it's always funny when he kind of does something new and random like that. I suppose, just back up what you say, like when you've got those three as well, like also those four musicians must be like, well, do you know what I mean? I don't need to check on them. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to be here to make sure everything's ticking over. So you could feel almost a bit of relief from Liam. I felt it was a bit like, I think he quite liked being part of that dynamic. And I think he's now in that sweet spot, isn't he? Where he's going back to what you said a minute ago. He's got the best of both worlds. Potentially, he's got a decent songwriter and a brilliant musician writing stuff. And then he's got the Oasis stuff, because he said, I don't know if you read his interview in Mojo, but he said like for the nostalgia tours and celebration tours, he's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do every one of them. I'll do Dig Out Your Soul 30 years. Do you know what I mean? So from that, you can assume there's going to be a Morning Glory one next year.
Yeah.
Possibly a Be Here Now in a couple of years' time. So it's like if he can slot those, make that and the John Squire collaboration work, he's in, he's, as I say, he's got the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to do a second album then?
I think Liam said things on Twitter. He's like, yeah, I'll be up for it.
Okay. Yeah, because to me, it feels like, especially just in the interviews and everything, it's like, John's like, oh, well, I've got these songs. All right, John will do it. But whether or not now, because I know it went to #1, but I know because obviously the reception, hasn't been that great. Then I wonder if Liam will do it again, or if he'll just like, even if John came back and said, oh, I've got some more songs there. We're okay, actually. Thanks, John. So, you know what I mean?
Yes, London! It's mega, man. Being on stage with John Squire, they're a fucking top fucking band, so I've got to be right on my fucking game. Hence why I'm like having face packs and fucking early nights.
Got legs and stays around for a while.
I think it's got legs, man. I think it could be a good thing, and I think it'd be rude not to do another album.
Yeah, I suppose the live. I mean, they'd have to work out what they're going to do with the live thing, because actually, similarly with there being no Oasis songs, maybe that's the thing with the crowd. Actually, thinking about it. I remember having the same thoughts as when the BDI did the first album when they didn't do any Oasis tunes. It was like you felt like the crowd were expecting more because it's Liam Gallagher, therefore they think of Oasis tunes. I think there was maybe that kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's I think if they could, I think they probably might give it a second album, because as I say, they'll have a bigger catalogue of things to choose from them. But it might get to a point where it might have to be like, actually, do you know what I mean? Are we going to include Stone Roses or Oasis tunes? And Noel's obviously said he wouldn't be happy with John Squire doing his thing, but then Champagne Supernova, obviously he's done that.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be a second one. Yeah, I think Liam loves John too much. They're not to be honest.
No, fair play. No, I just I don't know. I can't see it. I suppose it's just because of the reception. I suppose I just assume that it'll be a one and done, but you never know. And yeah, and I would like, I think that's it. Like, what was the I was thinking the example of, like, I was at Comic-Con last year, right? London Comic-Con, and the actor Andrew Scott was interviewed on stage, but it was right in the middle of the strike, the actors' strike. And so you're thinking, I want to hear him talk about Sherlock. I want to hear him talk about, like, all of these other amazing things he's done. But all he could do was talk about the play he's in. And you're like, I don't want to hear you talk about your play. I want to hear you talking about, the TV shows and the films. But he couldn't do it because obviously it was struck. So yeah, you're like, okay, well, we're here with this super famous, amazing actor who's got all of these brilliant shows and films under his belt, but we're talking about his, playing Hamlet or whatever. So yeah, no, I know what you mean. It just does feel like, why are you not dropping in a couple at least? But maybe obviously that band would have had to rehearse them and get them all ready.
Yeah.
It is such a tight turnaround, I suppose. So
I suppose it's that thing as well. Like, do you do more? I think it would be nice to have a 12-song set. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think maybe another cover would have been nice. But I'm thinking another reason possibly why they only did, well, they've only done, they'll only go to the early April, is obviously it gives Liam 6 weeks off before definitely maybe shows, but it might be for John as well. It might be like, actually he can suss out how he likes getting back out there again and doing like the slightly smaller venues and stuff.
Yeah.
But he looked like he was enjoying himself to me. I didn't see that he was having any problems at all. So yeah, I reckon, as I say, because Liam's got the best of both worlds now, I would say there's probably going to be a second album, but yeah, well, but who knows? I mean, Liam's track record, everything he touches turns to gold, doesn't it? So you say, like, the reception to the album wasn't great, but it went, as you say, it went to number one. People bought it.
Yeah. Yes, but it's one of those, you know what I mean? It's not going to go on to platinum status or whatever the status. It's always anything he releases is going to have that immediate impact, but it hasn't had the cultural sort of continuance. It's like, okay, he did that thing, and then it's over.
But then where does he go from Nebworth?
Sorry,
but then where does he go from Nebworth? Do you know what I mean? I suppose it's a winning formula, yeah. But I imagine even for Liam, who's plays things quite safe, that is going to be quite boring. So I guess for him, the John Squire thing was mixing things up a little bit as well. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows what will happen? John Squire might decide he didn't like him, wants to be recluse again or whatever. It's impossible to say because he's not going to tell us, is he? So
no, absolutely. Cool. All right. Well, that's good. Although I did get out live the other day and saw the best band in the country, or not in this. They're currently in this country, but they're from another country, which is the Mary Wallopers.
How was that?
Amazing. I saw them on St. Pat, and I think this is probably why my voice is still knackered from that, to be honest. But they were absolutely incredible on St. Patrick's Day in Bristol Academy. Great venue, by the way. I'd never been to Bristol Academy before.
Right, it.
Absolutely brilliant. I love the layers. I was there with my brother and sisters, and so the sisters are both really short. So the fact that they could go up the levels and then go on so everyone could get a great view. It was, but then down the front. And as I said, the most gigs I've been to recently, it tends to be like your 90s artists. They're a bit more chilled out. Or I've seen pop artists like Beyonce and Hozier and people like that in the last couple of years, which doesn't tend to be crazy. Whereas this was absolutely mad. This was like the high days of the Pogues, or like when having gone to see like bands in the mid 90s and it just being completely nuts, and like young kids, then old farts like us, and just crazy, absolutely insane. But yeah, and live, because on record they're very folky, but then on the live it's still the same instruments, and you're thinking, how are they getting that reaction literally from an acoustic guitar and a banjo and a tin whistle, but it was absolutely amazing. So you missed a good one that night.
This is a Pogue song called Streams of Whiskey. R.I.P. Shane.
Yeah, well, I was watching Bill Ryder Jones, who was great in his own way. So, yeah, I'm not sorry about it. But yeah, I read a lot about Mary Wallopers. I read Wallopers. Oh, we've had this, haven't we? Yeah, I've read a lot about how they're kind of really on fire at the moment. They're kind of the Irish, which is Ireland's just doing ridiculous in music terms anyway at the moment. Anyway, and then you have the kind of the folk element. Yeah, it's funny about the Academy. I've got muso friends who really don't like it. They reckon the sound's terrible.
All right.
I don't have that sort of ear. I say what, it's fucking horrible to be in there when it's sold out. I'll say that much. It's just body to body the whole way through. It's just awful. But yeah, I don't mind the Academy. I went there on Saturday night to watch Yard Act and see Johnny Marr there in a couple of weeks as well. And it's Bristol's, until the city gets a fucking arena, whenever that's going to be. It's Bristol's biggest venue, really. So you always can get if anyone wants to. Yeah, do a gig in town. It's only of any reasonable size wants to do a gig in town. It's generally the Academy, but yeah, I quite like it.
Cool, good stuff. Anything else you want to discuss? Anything that we've forgotten?
Anything classy? Well, I've heard the Black Keys tunes because I've got the album to review. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're not. I'm not. The thing is, it's although they're Noel. Well, the three of them are Noel co-written tunes. One of them is called "On the Game," and it sounds like a Noel big kind of arms aloft kind of anthem, but it's a bit of a plodder, and it's the Black Keys doing it rather than Noel, so it lacks what probably the heartfelt delivery of it, I would say. "You'll Pay" is a bit of a Bond tune, actually. I think it's got kind of elements of Bond to it. Which makes it stand out. But the best of three, I'd say, is "Only Love," which is kind of a bit of a stomper, or "Only Love Matters." I think it's called. I'm not sure which on my stream of it. It says, well, the stream says one thing, the bio says another. It's either "Only Love" or "Only Love Matters." But anyway, yeah, it's a bit of a stomper. It's quite good. It's probably the most direct and most impactful of the three. So that's out next week, I think, the 4th of April, that album. And the other thing to say is, and no doubt people will have heard it by the time this is out, but the Ride album as well is superb. Interplay, it's brilliant. Their 7th studio album out tomorrow as we're recording this, which will be the 29th of March. They go from strength to strength. They've added so many more kind of sonics to their sound. If anyone who's heard the 3 singles, well, which ones are singles, who knows? But let's say for sake of argument, all 3 of them that released so far are singles. That is a reflection of the album, but there's so much more to it as well. There's so many bigger, broader songs, like there's some kind of odysseys, and there's quite a lot of sci-fi tints to it. There's a bit of Tears for Fears in there. They're kind of like Boards of Canada, kind of glitchy instrumentation. It's brilliant, as I say. And I'm lucky enough to be seeing them live next week in Rough Trade, doing a strip back.
Nice one. Okay, mate. Well, that's absolutely brilliant. And what you got? What you got coming up in 1 minute?
In 1 minute, I see 1 minute. Well, I've had a bit of a quiet winter really because I went to the Sphere to see U2, so I've tried to keep things on a bit of a.
You have mentioned that.
I have mentioned that, but not. I've mentioned it, but we've not spoken since I last saw it, and I'm still on a bit of a high from it. But I've got, as I say, got Black Keys review coming out, reviewing the Libertines album. It's coming out soon. A few other interviews, a few other bits and bobs on the go. Maybe a couple of. Well, I've got 4 books I'm hopeful going to come out before the end of the year, but we'll see. I've got one's written. I've started researching on the other one, and there's another one in the pipeline. I've got another idea for one after that, but yeah,
Jesus.
Watch this space.
Prolific. All right, mate. Great to speak to you. Catch you soon.
Anyway, take care.
All right, thank you very much to Richard. Great to catch up, as always. And 4 books this year. What the hell is that all about? 4 books. Madness. Right, a couple of bits. So one thing I thought was quite fun, I tweeted at Andy Bell and Ride, sort of saying that I'd enjoyed the album, basically bigging up the album, and I'd got a nice response from Andy. And I tweeted at the other day. I tweeted about the song "Millionaire" because I was listening to it. I'm doing a sort of a big re-listen of all the post-Oasis albums at the moment, and for an upcoming ranking episode, and I was listening to "Millionaire," and I'd never kind of figured out what the opening line is of "Millionaire." It's just one of those ones that you just sing a lot, and it sings about going from Cadaqués to Figueres It's actually talking about like a road trip, and so I thought that was fun. I put that on Twitter, like name the BDI song, and did like a Google Maps from the between. And I sort of tagged Andy Bell because it says in there like it's a 40-minute ride. And I sort of said traffic must have got worse over the last 13 years, or Andy Bebop drives fast. And Andy replied, he said, brilliant, haha, make sure you play Pink Floyd Medal on the journey. And so I replied, so the mention of Medal in the chorus is a reference to the Pink Floyd album Medal. I get that Sweet Salvador is Dali as he was from Figueres. And Andy said, yes, I was staying with a friend in Cadaqués. We drove from the lighthouse to Figueres to visit the Dali Museum and had a medal playing. Perfect soundtrack, but you have to make it in 40 minutes. Love it. That's what I love. I love getting these little nuggets of information. Fantastic. So thank you, Andy, for replying. What I'd love to do, I interviewed Andy before, and we sort of went through each of his individual songs that he'd written for Oasis. I'd love to do that for BDI. Just get a few more of these stories and find out a bit more. So that was cool. Also, we've had a message in from Sunil.
Hi James, I just wanted to say congratulations on 250 episodes of the Oasis podcast. That's an incredible achievement, and thank you for all the time and effort you put into each and every episode. It's very much appreciated by listeners like me. I also just wanted to give you a quick review of Liam Gallagher and John Squire at Troxy in London on Tuesday the 26th of March. It was a bit of an impromptu gig for us. I tried, like I'm sure lots of people did, to get tickets when they first came out, but they were all sold out pretty much instantly. And then I saw just before the day that there were some tickets appearing on fan swap sort of websites, and managed to get some. And we went along, and the first thing to say is the venue was really cool. It was an Art Deco kind of place, very different from where I've seen Oasis and Liam previously, but it was really, really nice. The atmosphere was very, very relaxed and chilled, and just generally a very sort of happy vibe, and people just seemed to be really up for it. And it was nice to see his son Gene and his missus Debbie just there right near us, just in the crowd. No one seemed to bother them, and they were just very happy, and they looked like they really enjoyed the show. Liam was on good form. He was saying various things. He made a bit of a joke about there not being much banter from him in other shows, which I guess is a bit of a response to people criticising or saying that. He made a joke at the end about it being the last straw, having sort of chewed on various straws throughout the gig for whatever reason. I'll send you a little clip I've got of that. And the other thing was, it was very apparent that it was a sort of shared spotlight between him and John Squire. When he wasn't singing, he very much sort of went to the side of the stage and was in the dark, and he left the spotlight to John Squire, who unsurprisingly didn't say anything, but was absolutely amazing. And the sound from him and the rest of the band was just unbelievable, really, really good. Something I've not really heard before. It just sounded so clean, and they were so tight as a band, very different from other gigs where I've seen Liam and Oasis. And the other thing to say was the songs sounded so much better live. I mean, I agree with what a lot of people say about the album and the lyrics and so on, but they sounded incredible live, and I really enjoyed the album since going to that gig. So definitely makes a difference, and they definitely come alive being played in a venue like that, and live, obviously. So all in all, it was really, really great gig. Really enjoyed it, and seems like they're going to do a second album, maybe another tour. So if anyone was not going to go because they're not playing Oasis songs or anything like that, I would say well worth seeing them live. It was really good. And thank you once again for everything you do on the podcast. It's absolutely brilliant. Keep up the good work, and look forward to the next 250 episodes. Thanks a lot. Take care, and see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers, Sunil. Much appreciated. Next 250. Christ, another 250. Well, who knows? We'll see if we can get there. We've got to finish the A to Z. That's what I keep saying. We've got to finish the A to Z. Gee, someone said to me on YouTube the other day, like, R.I.P. Oasis A to Z, like sad faced. I'm like, it will come back. There's just been too much going on. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, I think that will do it then. Thank you very much for listening. Most of all, thanks go to our patrons. You put your money where your mouth is. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. Oh, something that's happening. I'm just waiting to see, actually. Matt Morgan has... he put a message out saying that he's, when he's going to interview Noel, and he asks for questions, and the person that gets like the most likes gets their question asked. And I asked a question, and so I'm waiting to see whether my question gets asked, because it's always nice to hear the Oasis podcast mentioned on Matt Morgan and see what Noel says. So it'll be very interesting if it does. So probably come back next week and we'll find out if it got answered. What a cliffhanger. That will do it. As I said, thanks to patrons. Give us a follow on social media at Oasis Podcast. To be honest, I've kind of given up on Instagram and Facebook. I do need to get back on those, I suppose. Follow the YouTube channel. I haven't done a video version for this one today, but there will be more video versions coming. Next up, I think we're going to do this ranking, updated album ranking. I'm going to go through what you guys ranked the albums as, and also I'm going to go through, I should be recording with James Hargreaves in a couple of weeks. We're going to do our individual album rankings of all the post-Oasis albums. So that should be good. All right, that'll do it then. Thank you very much for listening. As ever, stay in touch, stay engaged.